Same exact thing. Let's go. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork you will not get anywhere else. So we do not teach you how to rise to the occasion. We teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Make Your Move Monday, folks. Last Make Your Move Monday of August. Last one without football season, too. It's actually kind of started stemming from football, the football world, where there was just a lot of storylines that I was consuming so much football from Saturday all the way through Sunday night that it was like, you know what, there's burning questions. There's things I got to get out. So the Make Your Move kickoff question actually did start the end, sort of the midway point to the end of last season, especially if we're talking the college game. You know, I'm a big Michigan fan, and we had a rough season outside of beating Ohio State and Alabama. It was a rough time watching them. So there was just tons of questions I had in terms of where do we go as a fan base? What do we do? It was frustrating, right? So also, in addition to the Make Your Move kickoff question today, it is the final Monday of August, which means time to see how I did on my monthly goals, time to set forth, publicly announce what my September goals are going to be all about. We'll be diving into all of that later on in the live stream, where you may be listening to, because I play this video to start every live stream now. So it may be one of those things where you're listening to it on the live stream. If you're not, you just listen to the video individually. That's what we're going to be doing. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share this channel out to anybody that needs to, especially those in the employee development world. All right. So speaking of all that, that leads me to today's Make Your Move kickoff question and the introduction of the theme for the week, which is growth and development. All right. Growth and development. What are they? What is the difference between somebody that's growing versus somebody that's actually developing? And are you more so moving towards the latter? Are you actually developing, or are you simply growing? And I gave a bit of a preview of this last week when I gave a preview episode of what we're going to be talking about. Understand the difference. All right, so I'm going to just answer the question blank, and then I'll bring it up, or, kind of get some feedback on it. Growing is what's going to happen naturally. You're naturally going to go for a bit. Your bones are going to get stronger. Teeth are going to fall out, and then they're going to grow back into adult teeth. You're going to have adult bones, and you're going to get muscles, and you're going to grow physically. It's actually going to happen. How big you are and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of genetics, and there's a lot of scientific things that play a role in that. Everyone's going to grow. The question is are you going to develop, right? Develop is actually the understanding. Now there's a certain sense, there's certain things that you're doing to activate your brain. There's certain things that you're doing to make it so you know more and you're able to react differently when you're in certain situations, and you can pick up on this and pick up on that. And your senses, it's more of a spiritual thing. It's more of a sense of desire that you want to develop into being somebody. You want to develop into being a great public speaker. You want to develop into being a great doctor. You want to develop into being a great football player. You want to develop into being a great educator. You want to develop into you fill in the blank. All right. So again, you have to make that decision on what you want to develop in instead of just kind of going with the flow, which just happens too often. What happens too often, and I'll close you out with this, and we'll dive deeper into all this. And when I have the article in front of me, what happens too often is we've been built into there's this built-in mindset amongst the majority of people where they just decide that I'm just going to grow and be happy with the growth. I'm just going to be happy with the growth. I'll be happy with the status quo. I'll be happy with whatever the world presented to me when I was born. And I'm not going to develop, because development causes too much stress. Development causes too much work. Development causes me to actually look at my own shit and say, hey, I didn't do that the right way. I got to get better. I got to learn how to do whatever I try to do. I got to learn how to do it better. That's development. Development actually hurts. Development actually takes you owning up to the shit that you have put out there and the problems that you've created for yourself. That's what development entails. That's what real development entails. And a lot of people, the minute they get a taste of that, they don't want to do it anymore. So the reason I'm bringing all this up and I'm deciphering it too is because you, as a entrepreneur, you as a person that consumes this work and consumes this channel, if you want to stick around here, at least, you need to be in the habit of developing whatever it is you're trying to do, developing your ideas, developing your thing, developing your business, developing whatever it is you're building in your heart and in your mind. That's the difference. That's the decipher. Now, I strategically decided I've thought this was going to be a great topic, because as we get into football season, you're going to see the teams that are simply growing, like physically. You see a lot of guys that are physically gifted in the football world, but are they developing in certain things? things? Are they doing the same things that they did back when, we first saw them? I'm not going to say that name, but we know who we're talking about in regards to when I say, are you developing? Yeah, you're growing and you're getting better. You might be, getting stronger or whatever. But the question is, are you developing? Are you more so listening with your mind? So, again, we'll dive into the details of this on the live stream today.
Yes, we will. Yes, MakeYourMove.com. Yeah. We here. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good whatever time of day you're here. I'm glad to have you here. Welcome to another Make Your Move Monday. Another Make Your Move Monday, the final Make Your Move Monday of the month of August, which means we got to, you know what we do around here? We don't mess around. Got to break down our goals. I made a commitment to do this. I think I started in April, whereas the last Monday of every month, it's time to put myself on the hot seat. I got to see how I did with my monthly goals. We got to put out some more monthly goals for the next month to make sure we're staying on top of our shit. That is what we do around here. We do not just talk. We make sure we're backing up the words with some action to make it so we're taking action. Because talking is cheap. Talk is cheap. Just talking about doing stuff, it is never going to get you anywhere. Are you actually putting some actions to the words? All right. So before we get into all that, let me just introduce myself to anybody that is new to this channel, new to this world, new to what I'm all about. My name, Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. And I created this whole brand, this whole business, this whole way of life, this whole mindset. It's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of a group of employees that moves as efficiently, has that cohesion, has that hunger, has that passion, has that mentality of a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do around here. We break it down every single day. We do not play any games around here. All right. So as you guys can see, what we're talking about is growth and development and really discussing the differences between the two. Also, me being the person that's going to be using myself as an example, I will be breaking down the goals. I'll be breaking down what I did for the past month, how I did it, what was the issue. And then, hey, we're looking forward to September, looking forward to what we're going to be doing in September. All right. So before I get there, let me just get through these announcements really, really quick. And then we will go from there. So first and foremost, business owners, like I mentioned, this is for you. This platform was built for you. The platform was built so you do not have the issue anymore. You do not have the problem anymore of a solid system that's going to keep your staff motivated. All right. Keep your staff moving in a cohesive way to where they're working together, but they're also competing to make it so, all right, look, we're going to not only make ourselves better, we're going to make the organization better. All right. First step that you need to take is you need to go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. It is a 10-step process that I created that you can start utilizing right now that at least get you moving in the correct direction. It's a very simple formula that we work from around here. Establishing measurables, number one, plus a professional distance, and allowing that mix to create the productive environment. There is no other blueprint, folks. Period, point blank. I've worked a ton of jobs. I had a ton of quote and quotes, right? I'm using the term loosely here. Quote bosses, end quote. Quote managers, end quote. I'm using the term loosely because they were managers by title, bosses by title, but in terms of actual leadership, they had no fucking clue what the hell they were doing, all right? So I have gathered all that and I put it in my brain and I created I didn't create the formula. I'm just put it in a formula that you can understand. So you understand, hey, look, you have got to create this professional distance and the measurables need to be there or the productive environment will not be there. Very, very easy to understand process. Again, just click that link on freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Next thing, college football is here. College football is here. Ding, ding, ding. Hallelujah. College football is here, folks. It's here, and I could not be more excited. Every single week now, I have a live college football show that I'll be doing at Duffy Sports Bar and Grill. out here in North Palm Beach. If you are local to the area, be sure to just come out. It's 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Be there for the beginning parts of the early game and then midway through halftime of the 12 o'clock game. And now what was probably going to end up happening, because I did a little research this weekend on how it's going to run, is the recording of the video. So if you go to Film Session Saturday, actually, let me just do it right now. Let me announce it right now for you guys. No, can't. Don't let it play. But if you go to Film Session Saturday on YouTube, why is it doing this? All right, you know what? We'll deal with it. I'll work on the announcements as we go. But if you go to Film Session Saturday on YouTube, you'll see me breaking down the games and kind of who did what and what it's all about. It'll be similar to that format. It'll just be after the game, because doing it live on, I can run into some real issues if I'm doing it live while the game is going on, but it won't be a problem if it's like previously recorded and then it gets put out there, and it won't be the whole game, stuff like that. So I'll be doing something like that, more so to teach you business owners where the connections lie between the game and how you can run your business. There's so much to be learned, so much in terms of how guys go their other ways and what this person's doing and what the decisions are going to make. There's so much to be learned as a business owner if you really pay attention to the game, but just as a leader in general. And that, in fact, just this weekend, I'm going to be talking about this a little later, but just this weekend, I taught my girl what a first down actually was. And I broke it down in a way where it was like, hey, you getting the kids breakfast ready, that would be the equivalent of a first down, because, hey, got them through this. All right, the next step, got it through this. And then the touchdown is, hey, they're sleeping, they're safe, this, that, and the third. So you can create that. And it takes someone like me to translate all the things that the game has into what your daily life is and stuff like that. So all that, again, we're going to discuss all of that. All of that is going to be broken down. I cannot wait. I've been so pumped till I get this show started and get things going, because the reason I actually started this was so I can become a play-by-play announcer for a college football game. So this is going to be a great opportunity for me to really put some film out there. Just again, I require myself to do the things that I asked of other people. So it's going to be a great opportunity for me to put some film out there and get some feedback and all that. So I'm really excited about that. Weekly scenario at makeitmove.com. Enjoy some college football with your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. And finally, for all my business owners out there that we love, the folks that say bump all that free stuff out as one, who we got to pay, come in here, teach my staff, teach those lazy some bitches, right? Teach this lazy group of people that I got working for me how to develop this energy, how to develop this mindset, how to develop this initiative, how to develop all of this that you got up in you as one. I want you to give it to my staff. That's the kind of business owners I'm. If you got a staff that you're just tired of a bunch of dead weight, lazy nobodies, man, and you got them. Who can be honest? You got them. Then you need to go to makeitmove.com, go to shop now, get you an employee development workshop, or book a meeting with me so we could discuss how to get it paid for. We usually go based on the year. It's going to be kind of depending on where your needs are, what the results are you're expecting and all that. So it's going to take a conversation with me. Go to makeitmove.com, innovative teamwork to do all your research on me. Let me read this out loud and then we'll get started. All right. So turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Whew. All right. Growth and development. Let's get into what we are here to talk about today. Growth and development. What is the difference? All right. What is the difference between growth and development? And just for some backstory, and I'm going to get to the article in a second. We're going to read it directly. But for some backstory, now I'm currently living in South Florida, but where I'm from, my roots, my core, the core of everything I'm all about the DMV, man. DC, Maryland, Virginia, that is home. All right. That's home. That's where I built my philosophy. That's where I learned how to think through things. Is where I learned how to fail, which I learned how to develop, which I learned how to succeed. Everything that I'm about to my core is all about the DMV. All right. I love Florida because that's where my passion took me. My passions being that it's football and fitness and education. That's where my passions took me in life. I was drawn to South Florida. Grew up in a Caribbean household, and again, my passion about developing in the fitness and the football and the education world, and kind of creating an alignment between those three industries. Florida was the best way for me to do it. Being in the DMV, it's kind of riddled with politics, and being around, out here, there's just a sense where, listen, those three things that I just mentioned, those three industries that I just mentioned, fitness, education, fitness, football, and education, those three things run the damn state. It runs this part of Florida that I'm in. It runs South Florida. Those three things that I just mentioned: education, football, and fitness. That's it. If you into that, South Florida's for you. So my passions took me to Florida, but my core, my heart, and my mind always is in the DMV. I love the DMV. I love the fact that I grew up there. I love the fact of where I'm from, and specifically where I played with. All right. So I went back to the DMV to check this again. Hear me clearly. Went back to the DMV last weekend to celebrate this baby that we're seeing in pink. She turned 16 years old. Okay, she turned 16 years old this last week. So again, I'm one of those guys that I'm always prepping in advance as a way of understanding the feelings and the thoughts and the things that come rushing back to me whenever I go back home. Is growing and developing and see how things happen. So I was the topic and the theme. It came before I actually took the trip. So before I actually took the trip to Maryland, I knew that growth and development was going to be a great thing to kick off, do the Make Your Move kickoff question on, and talk about throughout the week. And also seeing that football season is officially here. You're going to see guys, like I just mentioned in the video, you're going to see teams that are growing and developing, or teams that are just simply growing as an age versus actually developing when it comes to the play calling, and this is everyone, this isn't just the players, it's play calling, it's how you're reacting. Hey, did you make that same mistake that you're making now in camp? Are you making that same mistake later on in the year? All of these things start becoming very, very, just like I was telling you last week when we were discussing confidence, all of these things are going to be becoming very, very clear for anyone to see. It becomes very public, the people that are actually developing versus just simply growing. All right, so let's dive into the difference, and it's all here in written format. So my podcast listeners, I'm going direct. It's not just another Make Your Move Monday. It's not, folks. It's not just another Make Your Move Monday. It is the final Monday of August. This means two things. Number one, we kick off a brand new weekly theme. As we know now, it's, hey, what's the difference between growth and development? Number two, I sit down and give myself a monthly grade and map out the September goals that'll keep the momentum rolling. This week's theme, growth and development. What's the real difference? Let's break it down. Kickoff question. So we'll start with the kickoff question. All right, we'll start with the kickoff question before I break down my monthly goals. Let's run through the kickoff question and talk a little bit about what it's all about. All right. Kickoff question. What's the difference between growth and development? I ask myself this regularly, every single day, every single moment. It's like, am I developing in this moment, or am I growing? What's the difference? You got to ask yourself this, because what starts happening is the people who are against you, people who are trained to be against you, committed to misunderstanding you, committed to giving you bullshit, what they decide to do is they try to keep you from developing. They put up roadblocks. They do things in subtle ways to make it so you don't develop. You got to work around that. You got to figure out ways to work around that, because they are there, they're alive, and they're not going anywhere. So you got to figure out, how do I work around the folks that are systematized? They're system, not even that they're doing it out of a personal vendetta against you. They're doing it because of their own minds and the things that they have indoctrinated from somewhere else. You have to figure out where's the workaround. All right, where is the workaround from those people? All right, so I ask myself this regularly. In fact, my habit of grading myself every month is the perfect illustration of the difference. All right, here we go. Let's get some textbook clarity. Growth is the process of increasing in physical size. Development is the process of becoming more mature, advanced, or elaborate. And if we want to dig one layer deeper, mature is fully developed. All right? Being mature is being fully developed. So the process of becoming more mature, advanced, or elaborate is what development is all about. And being mature is to be fully developed. So you see how the words are used interchangeably. The words need each other. So when you're talking about developing, you're talking about now maturing, and developing and maturing, not just growing. There's a difference between the two. And I'm someone that's around kids, students K through 5 every single day. And I've known a lot of the upperclassmen, known them since they were just kind of like first, second grade kind of kids that were growing. And now you see them developing into what they're going to become, right? You see the personalities, what they're about, what they put their passions in. There's a developmental process that we as adults got to recognize and make sure we're nurturing the developmental process and not just feeding BS, right? So here's the truth. We're all going to grow biologically, financially, professionally, all right? But true development, that takes intent. It requires focus, purpose, sacrifice, systems, reps. It means thinking about what you want out of your life and your relationships and being willing to pay the price to get there. Did you guys catch that one? You guys catch that one? Being willing to pay the price to get there. You're not going to develop if you're not willing to pay the price. Let me show you what I mean. All right. So a family trip that taught me everything. This month, my girlfriend and I flew from Florida to my hometown of Silver Spring, Maryland, just for the weekend to attend my niece's Sweet 16. All right. So that's what I was mentioning before, but I'm reading it directly from the article now. So let me be clear. I want you guys to be very clear on when I say this. As a teacher, during back to school season, a quick weekend flight was not exactly convenient. And that's saying it nicely. It was just all over the place. I mean, I literally booked a flight from Saturday morning, got back Sunday night. We spent maybe barely 24 hours in Maryland, right? It was so inconvenient. It was not convenient at all. But again, I'll keep reading. But the look on my niece's face made every logistical inconvenience worth it. Now rewind the clock 15 years. All right. So go back 15 years when she was this age. I'm still playing football and she's just a little baby. All right. I was playing football for Stony Brook University when she was turning 1. My sister planned a huge party and I couldn't make it because of football. All right. Here's the difference. Back then, I had to miss it because I knew a 1-year-old wasn't going to even remember her birthday party. It was something that was an ego stroke to the parents. Now, yes, after some convincing from my girlfriend, I chose to show up because I'm developing. That single story, when told to my niece at some point, becomes a lesson, one that reminds her that a fruitful life doesn't come with age. It comes with maturity, with choices, and with a willingness to make sacrifices today that create a deeper meaning tomorrow. So understand this, and I want to give you even more context when I talk about that, because Stony Brook University, playing for Stony Brook was a dream come true for me. It was a dream opportunity, seeing that I wanted to go there out of high school. My grades weren't good enough, and I ended up going D2. I tear my ACL. I have to go rehab at a gym and work like regular life. And, I end up walking on at that Stony Brook. So getting there was a huge deal. My sister had the baby my first year that I was there. I remember being in camp and she was a brand new newborn. I was a newborn at that point. So a year later, I was like I said, she gave birth during the practice. I'll never forget it because it was a practice. It was in the middle of a 2-a-day. We're in the middle of a 2-a-day, and I get back to the locker room and I check my phone. I'm like, "Hey, Uncle Ozzy, you're an uncle now." Like, it was a feeling of pride and stuff like that. And this is me being around, football men, like football grown men, real alpha males. And I'm all like, "Look at the little baby. Look at him." Like, come on, dog. You got to cover that up, dog. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of ease off on the cute stuff, right? In a nutshell. But anyway, throughout that year, an incredibly exciting year for the family because she was just a bundle of joy and everyone enjoyed her and all that. But her parent, between my sister and at the time the father, they were spending every last night. That's all they were talking about was this massive birthday party that they're going to have for her for the first birthday party. It was new house, everything. And again, something that I would have loved to join and go to, but me in my mind, look, hey, I accomplished something too. I accomplished, playing at Stony Brook and being a part of this program and stuff like that. This was not something I could just leave camp and leave practice. And at this point, it's like, hey, I want to be there. I want to be there so I can show the coaches, hey, I'm willing to show up even during family days. You have to make sacrifices and things like that. So I couldn't make the first birthday party. And that was me understanding, hey, if it's really for her, it's really for my niece, then she's not going to remember who was there at her 1-year-old birthday party. But this time around, as we fast forward 16 or 15 years later now, I teach now. I'm dealing with teenagers and I'm dealing with kids pretty much from K all the way to the college level. I mean, all the things that you guys have heard me talk about in terms of serving the young people and creating this platform, creating this brand, creating all these things for business owners. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, even though it may be inconvenient, her seeing you there, that's going to mean more to her. That's going to be more about her because she planned the entire thing. She planned it and we went. It was a great time. I mean, it's one of those things that absolutely re-energized me, reignited the passion in me. It was something I personally needed but it isn't necessarily about me. It was about what we can do for the younger people and those teenagers. And just to close out the story, so her birthday party was on a Saturday. The next morning, that Sunday, she went to work. She went to work. And probably my proudest moment is to know that the next Sunday, my nephew, he went to a basketball game and then she went to work. So I can already see going in, hey, my sister's doing an incredible job. She's raising responsible young adults, all right, which is more important than my nephew maybe making it to the NBA, which I would definitely love to support and hope that happens for him. But more so, there's an understanding that, hey, no matter how much you party, how much you enjoyed yourself the night before, both my niece and my nephew, they went to work the next morning. We work it. The same way with me. Again, no matter how much fun, and I had a great time this weekend. Hey, we on this camera. We're going back to work the next morning. That is the mentality, all right? That's a mindset that you got to start incorporating in young people so they don't deviate too far from your ways. That's developing, folks. That's developing. That's not just simply growing and, taking for granted that we're here. That's you actually taking advantage, not taking for granted, but taking advantage of the fact that you're here and doing whatever the hell it is you need to do to develop into whatever it is you want to become. That's the difference. Okay. So all that being said, let's get into the monthly self-grade of August. How did Aswan do for his monthly goals? I gave myself a B-. Now I hold myself accountable. All right, let's hold myself accountable. I'm reading directly from the article, folks. All right. Here's how I did in last month's goal. All right. One of last month's goals was to grow traffic at Palm Beach Boxing and create a referral system. I got a couple. There's a married couple that I got to come to the gym with me to try a class. But the school year starting and gym owners traveling slowed up momentum. Still, I've held up my end. The conversations are in motion. So basically, matter of fact, let me go to the other article. So last month, the goal was to start training clients again. This one happened by accident in the best way possible. I walked into a Palm Beach Boxing to hope to reserve a space for folks that had already been trained at a local park. Before I knew it, I was meeting the gym owners, having an impromptu interview and becoming a part-time. Right. So basically what has happened is at that gym, they let me use it to learn the class and stuff like that. I've kind of underestimated how much time the school between running the business and running this show, running my business, doing the school stuff, and then doing some of the stuff with the college football show. I kind of underestimated how much time I'm actually going to have. So that's going to be, I'll talk a little bit about that when we get into the September goals. So that number one, again, did it, but again, a lot of things that we kind of have to consider if it's going to be something that's consistent. All right. Number two, align the Medium articles with the Wintrepreneur book plus a pre-sale strategy. So now that the articles are flowing here on Medium, the next step is organization, being around buyers who align with the Wintrepreneur mindset, and building the list that will make the release a success. Again, I'll talk a little bit about all this in a second when I talk about September goals, and build anticipation for the live college football show. Big win here. I hosted a live episode at Duffy's and got signups for my email list. A small beginning, but doors are opening. Florida high schools still need announcers. I'm ready to set up wherever. All right. So that was last month's goals. That was going into August. As you can see, that's what we were doing. That was last month's goals. Now, let's get into September's goals. Where are we moving forward? September, it's go time. Here's what I'm focusing on as we turn the corner into fall. All right. Number one, clean up the live show for virtual viewers. That is something that is priority number one. All right. In person, it went well, but virtual, not so much. Here's what I mean. And you'll see, watch it here and you'll see what I mean. September is about systemizing the experience. So if you go to the show, right, and this was what I recorded, might not be able to show you here. Let me see if I can pull it up. 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Because I think you have to be signed in, yeah. All right, so yeah, the link to it is let me show you all if I can. Well, running short on time. Well, just look up Live at Duffy's 1 p.m. where I did a kind of a test show that didn't look good because as I was talking, I did it for the Dolphins. The Dolphins were playing the Bears. It was the first preseason game for the Dolphins, and I went to that specific Duffy's, and I was watching the game and I was reacting to the game in real time. But if you were looking at it virtually, you were just seeing me talk about the game, and you didn't see what I was reacting to. So basically, the system that I'll create, the way I'll systemize this is to make sure that the virtual people, which is going to be probably the majority of people, they're able to watch the game to see how I'm reacting to it. But the issue is, like I was mentioning in the intro, is now I got to make sure that it's pre-recorded, so it goes on a different link and it doesn't happen live. All right. So that is where there's just copyright issues that I'm going to have to work with and make sure it's not something that's going on the monetized channel. It's something that I'm not, taking any money from specifically from ads or anything like that. It's just me kind of putting my ability to be a play-by-play announcer out there for public consumption. That's pretty much the systematization that I'm going to be the thing I'm going to be implementing and starting throughout the week. That's priority number one this week, and to make it so it's a good experience for people who don't know the game and teaching them how to transition the game into every aspect of their life, which is, again, what we do over here on this show. So that's number one. That's the September goal of number one. It's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of football, man. I was watching football literally from Friday night all the way through Sunday. So it really, really is something I'm excited about. So number two, build a new work rhythm around football season. So with games on Saturdays and Sundays, my weekly workflow needs to be locked in before kickoff. No excuses. Let's get more strategic with time. So this was the issue last year. All right, this was the issue last year is I was saying I was going to do a whole lot of things, and then games start 12 on Saturday, and then games start at 1 p.m. Game started 1 p.m. on Sunday. All of a sudden, I'm putting shit to the side. I was like, yo. So now, this year, I'm ready for it. By Friday at 5 p.m., whatever needs to get done, whatever needs to happen, it needs to get done. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I've already been in situations where I'm like, and the thing is, when the game's going on, I'm not working. Like, I'm pretending. I'm on the laptop. Like, this is me. Let me show you real quick. This is me. I'm like, I'm especially last year when remember the election cycle, and there was a lot of stuff I had to say with the election and how stuff was going on. So it's like, as one, I'm telling myself now, get your shit done before Friday at 5 p.m. because you try to get stuff done when you got all this football going on. It's not happening. Especially now, like last year I was single, but now I'm with someone. So now it's gonna be a completely different level of like, you got to focus. So it's not even about somebody else holding you back per se. It's about, are you prioritizing your own shit so you can hold your own self accountable? That's really what it's about. So that's what that's what the game will teach you. And again, I'm happy, so happy to translate that mentality to your other staff member, to your entire staff. All right. Final thing, as we're running it all on time. Number 3, decide on the boxing training structure. So will I go independent or partner with Palm Beach Boxing and become an official instructor? Enough stalling. This month, I decide and execute. All right, that period, point blank. You notice I haven't announced the boxing lessons in a while because as I'm getting busier and busier with my time, I got to figure out if I'm going to have that structure, if I'm going to have the time to do it. So that is the show for today. Let's make September a month of decisions, discipline, and development. Let's grow. But even more importantly, let's mature. All right. And tomorrow, as always, we're going to jump into a top 5 Tuesday on how to grow, how to actually develop and not just simply grow. And then Wintrepreneur Wednesday, I'm going to be giving you guys a solid lesson, the biggest lesson that you can get when you're talking about the football world. And then we'll go on the recap episode on Thursday, Faith-Based Friday. Still got film session Saturday going to be going on. Obviously, a different structure to it. And then, stay hard on everything that we normally do. Systematize. Work the system. Don't let the system work you. Come on now. We'll drop the mic on that one. All right. Main website is always to check out, to dive deeper into all the work I do. MakeYourMove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.